Twyford.
Kia ora tātou, Ramadan Mubarak. I want to acknowledge the members of the Palestinian community who are here today and the sorrow and the grief that they are feeling because of what's happening to their families back home. I want to acknowledge also the solidarity movement, Palestinian Solidarity Network of Aotearoa, Justice for Palestine, and all of the groups who have kept hope alive over the last 6 months, Palestinian youth of Aotearoa, who have turned people out weekend after weekend in a dozen towns and cities across our country. Thank you for speaking for us, for giving New Zealanders, allowing the voice of conscience to be heard in our country. You know, 6 months ago, I don't think any of us would have dreamed in our worst nightmares that we'd be here today, protesting and calling for an immediate ceasefire. It would have been unthinkable that the death toll would have gone as high as 33,000 people killed in Gaza. 70% of them women and children. And where I come from, we have a way of describing what it is when you slaughter civilians. We call it a war crime. And I'm asking you, what do we call it? A war crime. You can call it that too. You can call it that too. What do you call it when people use starvation as a weapon of war? What do you call it when people bomb a hospital? Now, it's time that political parties and governments around the world, including those Western nations who are providing political cover for Israel, who fund their military effort and give them the bombs and the military hardware to keep committing the ongoing atrocity in Gaza. It's time that they were called out. And the person at the top of this pyramid right now is the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. And he is a war criminal. What is he? A war criminal. Absolutely. Now, our government, the national government in New Zealand today, it doesn't talk much about an independent foreign policy except to criticise the concept. They're in the process of trying to drag New Zealand into a military alliance with the UK, the US and Australia to militarily confront China, called AUKUS. They've just invited the butchers of Myanmar, the most reviled regime around the world today. They've invited them to a meeting in New Zealand. But perhaps the worst indicator that this government has no interest in speaking with courage and with moral clarity about what's happening in the world today is their weasel words and their silence on what is happening in Gaza. And if they were worth the name of the government of New Zealand, they would be reflecting the outrage, the compassion, the grief and the anger that New Zealanders feel about what is happening in Gaza today. They would be using every opportunity they had to use New Zealand's voice, once regarded as a voice of principle and idealism in the world. they would be using that voice to speak up not only for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, but for a free and independent Palestine. I'm very honoured to be here today with my Labour colleagues, supporting this rally, supporting the Solidarity movement, standing with you to keep up the fight, to keep up the struggle, to support a free Palestine, and to keep calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire. Kia kaha. Thank you.